we might call this like a mini rant or something like that. People always talk about what PSO2 needs to be fixed. Like, how do you save the game? I'm gonna tell you right now, the best thing that they could do for this game is two things specifically. The first one is very controversial and most people won't agree with me. Release PSO2ES 2 and tie it to PSO2. Reason for it is give us the ability to interact with chats, interact with our friends, and give us the ability to kind of manage some of our stuff from our phone, with also having a mobile game in case they want to make money, right? Like, we'll play free to play, but they've got a mobile game in case they want to make money. Whatever, fine. Just do it and connect it. And two, NGS needs proper scaling. Scale zones, scale areas, and then create a queuing system for older content and reward the players with a currency for queuing for that older content. That way players who are leveling up and are going through the game for the first time don't feel like they're by themselves the entire time they go through it until they get to end game where players are actually playing. And then create a shop that might cycle camos or like some different other stuff, but also have like some resources that go towards the current gearing system when it comes to augments and upgrade items and things of that sort. And then you create a great game. It's actually a mix of base PSO2, Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft, and Guild Wars 2. But basically, yes. If they were to do all of those things, it'd be great. No, like level scaling. Like if you were to go to, like, for example, if I were to jump over to like Rezel Forest rank 1, I should be level 15. They should scale me to level 15. They don't have to make like hard scaling, right? It doesn't have to be insane. They don't have to scale my gear down or shit like that. Like, that's fine. Like, there needs to be like some proper scaling, because what happens is that players just blast everything and there's no feeling of progression. Proper scaling was the best thing they ever introduced into Final Fantasy, like hands down. And then when it got pushed into World of Warcraft, it was even better. Like, proper scaling would be so nice, because you would, and then on top of that, give players the reason to go back to those pieces of content, to go back and do some of that old stuff. Like, it would be so good, so good. You would never have to deal with having to have specific LTQs like this to be a vehicle to deliver players the information or the stuff they need. They could farm those queues with other players who are currently lower tiered in the game, right? Like maybe they haven't gone through the entire story. Like, it would change up the progression path. You wouldn't feel rushed to go through the entire story immediately. You could stop off and do some of this stuff. Like, maybe when you hit a certain point, you can go into Cannonball Strike and there'd be a queue that's like, hey, a random queue for whatever happens to be queued for, or whatever. And you get a bunch of people that queue in the Cannonball Strike with you and you're like, yo, this is my first time doing it. I can check this out. This is super cool. You get to experience it. Maybe you've never done, Ordinal Tower. It would get people to go into Ordinal Tower and the lower tiers for players to experience it, It's just, I feel like it'd be so good to be able to do things like that. That's how you save a game. You take all the good ideas from every other game on the market and you roll it into your game. That is why Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft still exist till today, because they have been copying homework over and over again this entire time. They have just been taking from each other left and right. Ever since Yoshi P said flat out that yes, he looks at things like World of Warcraft for inspiration for the things that they do. WoW and 14 have been copying homework all the time. That's all. They're just copying homework. They're just making sure they change the name on the piece of paper. And honestly, it creates a great game. It does a really, really good stuff. It'd be so nice. Honestly, I felt one single component that's been bad for NGS the whole time is the way the exchange works, where selling and trading is locked behind premium or one-day tickets. So it affects me. When I plan to play for a while, just buy premium, not let me. It makes them most thrive. Yeah, I mean, we've said it from beforehand. Premium realistically is fine, but it would be better for free to play to have access to the shop as well. The ability to sell things in the shop, at least a limited amount of like slots in the shop. Like, give free to play 3 slots. Like straight up, just give free to play 3 free slots, and they're good. That would be the best thing to do, in my opinion. I still haven't actually done Cannonball. Yeah, a lot of people haven't done a lot of that content, and it would breathe life in a lot of those things. A lot of the reasons why people don't do that stuff is because 1, the rewards don't matter for you, and 2, you absolutely blast it, so it's not even really any fun, right? Like, you don't do anything there. But imagine if there was a currency you got from queuing for that old piece of content, right? and it gave players the ability to queue for that content. And you took that currency and used it in a shop that was available to you to then get some of the stuff that you need. Maybe it's like weekly capped or something. The amount of content you can get done is like weekly capped or whatever, right? Basically, it's like the tombstone system from 14. Basically, use that stuff to be able to get the stuff you need to like gear up your character and stuff. How sick would that be? That'd be so good. Make it all shit match make, just, you know, and you're good to go. Throw things in there like, you know, protects that you might need, like upgrade items, stuff like that. Like, more resources doesn't mean it's easier for the player to build, or it doesn't make it so the current gear doesn't have like value. It means that players will build other sets. People will play other classes. The primary reason why most people don't play multiple classes is because they don't want to build a second weapon because they feel like it's too expensive. Oh, my pocket's been rumbled by Astro. Why is it like this? That's the primary reason why most people just don't do it. And the people that do, hey, yo, shout out to you guys. But it shouldn't be that difficult for players. Like, you should allow, like, the game is set up where you only really need one character. So let's make it so it feels good to play that one character everywhere. Play all the different classes if you want to. Play all the different specs if you want to. All that good stuff. It should be 100%. So I feel it should be. But that's just me ranting. I may believe a video. I don't know. We'll have to see.